This is KSL Sports Live, broadcasting from the Mountain Home Services studios.
Thanks for staying up with us tonight. You're going to hear from L.J. Martin about his career night in Cincinnati.
Yeah, we'll also look back on Utah's wild win over the Kansas State Wildcats. Sly will try to explain what in the world happened to Utah's defense.
I can't wait to hear that.
All right, back to college football. Did BYU improve its case for a spot in the college football playoff? We'll find out on Tuesday what the playoff committee thinks of the Cougars after their win on the road against Cincinnati on Saturday night. A win that improves their record to 10-1 this season so far. The 26-13 win marks the fourth season since 2020 that BYU has won 10 or more games. That's the third most in FBS in that span, behind only Georgia and Ohio State. L.J. Martin was the star of the game for BYU with 222 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. No one in front of BYU in the AP rankings lost, so that means BYU stays at number 11. With the win, the Utes had their hands full against Kansas State at Rice-Eccles Stadium. They made a late comeback to get the 51-47 win. Devin Dampier had 259 yards passing to go with 94 yards rushing, but Utah fell one spot in the rankings to number 14. It was Miami who jumped ahead of them after their convincing win over Virginia Tech.
Well, it was quite a weekend, a lot to discuss, a lot to talk about, a lot to break down with Steven Sylvester. We're going to start with the Cougars. And L.J. Martin was the story. A historic day for him, his best outing as a Cougar, his best outing as a college football player. He's special, and he's probably the best Big 12 back right now. What are your thoughts on what he did, and how did he do it?
Absolute boss, right? But what I love about this whole BYU team is they're playing as a team, right? Complementary football all across the board from defense to offense. But most importantly, that offensive line. You are nothing without offensive line. From pass protection to run blocking to getting everybody set up and making sure you have great blitz protection. You got to give credit to Coach Roderick and that offensive staff for getting everybody ready to go. But L.J. Martin getting it done, right? Especially at the end of the game. They're only down by 6, 20-14. You need to run the 4-minute offense, get time away, and look at L.J. Martin here just doing a great job with his feet. He allows the blocks to get set up with his great running back play right there. And then, of course, just getting all the way to the end zone. Here, a lot of people say get down, but if you're extending the lead, put it on him. Yeah. Put it on him. And for a guy like that, L.J. Martin, to have a day the way he did, get him in the end zone again. And so that's exactly what he does there. But absolute boss performance by L.J. Martin yesterday. Exactly what that BYU team needed.
Okay, well, one thing we've seen regularly throughout this season is how BYU's defense has been able to help keep them in games, help them win games, be in a situation where they can win. It was the same thing on Saturday night against Cincinnati. That defense was there again. Well,
this second part of the season, defense playing absolutely outstanding. And this is exactly when you want your defense to be playing great, is this part of the season. Because this ramps up. You get the playoffs, you get the championship games. Your defense is firing all cylinders. Even that loss to Texas Tech, the defense played pretty good for the majority of that game, right? Last week against TCU, absolutely outstanding. But last night against Sorsby, who was a talented guy, they did a tremendous job. Absolutely loved this play. The beginning of the second quarter, 4th down and 1. Cincinnati's doing great. Here, I know Keanu Tanavasa makes the play, but you got to give credit to the rest of that defensive line for making that happen. Telmi Opeo does a great job of stalemating. You know how we talk about reestablishing the line of scrimmage? He doesn't allow the offensive lineman to get downfield, stalemates it here. Running back runs right into the back and allows Keanu Tanavasa to make that play. He was supposed to go into that B gap, and because of Telmi Opeo doing such a great job right there, allows Tanavasa to come back into the play, make it, and stop them on that 4th down. And then, of course, the turnovers, the TFLs. Evan Johnson almost had another pick 6 in that game. The defense is soaring at the right time.
One more win, and BYU is in the Big 12 championship game. The Utes still alive. We'll get to the Utes coming up next with Sly after the break.
When I think about our seniors, I get emotional, so I apologize. But
Kyle Whittingham emotional after the crazy comeback on senior night. He explains his feelings coming up as we look back on a game to remember for a lot of different reasons for the Utes.
LJ deserves to be the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week.
Yeah, we've also got more from BYU on their 10th win of the season, including more on that big performance by L.J. Martin and his 222 yards, and Utah State. They're going bowling this year. How did they get it done on the road against Fresno?
And for the Aggies, all that plus LeBron James and Utah Sunday night. Did the Jazz send him back to L.A. with an L? Also, Utah State hoops seeking a 6-0 start to the season. You won't believe who scored 40 tonight and the end of an epic high school football season. We're going to look back on the 6A, 5A, and 4A state championship games That and much more coming up.
You're watching KSL Sports Live.
LeBron James is now playing an NBA record 23rd season. As incredible as he is, eventually his career will come to an end.
All right, so could this be his last trip to Salt Lake City? This is a place where he struggled during his career, 9-12 all time at Delta Center. Jazz were hosting the Lakers again today.
All right, here we go with the highlights. There's LeBron dapping it up with Lowry. And it didn't take long for LeBron fans in the building to get what they paid for. Throwing down the dunk. Imagine how thrilling it must be for Jazz rookie Ace Bailey to share the floor with a legend.
Set to check it. Oh, what a play! Climbing up on the ladder.
Bailey wowing the crowd and starting his own legacy. LeBron is the GOAT, but Luka's the best player on the Lakers in 2025. He was sensational. The ball handling, the finish at the rim for the and one. And it was, yeah, that's just filthy. The nutmeg of Kevin Love and the finish at the rim on the lob to Jackson Hayes. Doncic 33 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists. The Jazz kept it close in the first half. They trailed by just 7 at the break. We go to the second half, and how about another rim rocker from the rookie?
Zone. 4 to shoot. 3 ball up and out. Oh, he's back. Wicked. I mean, wicked. Off the offensive putback.
Ace had 10 points and 5 rebounds. The best defensive play of the game was made by Kyle Filipowski, rejecting the Luka lob and sending Jake LaRavia to his seat. Jazz down 10 with 4 minutes left. Keontae had 27 points and 8 assists. This one sparks a rally. Keontae with another great dish to Svi Mikhailuk. Svi had 12, and Lowry steps up and hits a big 3. This would cut the lead to 6. Then down 4 with 40 seconds left. Lowry hits another 3. The Jazz are within 1. Everyone's going crazy. 12 seconds left. He can give the Jazz the lead.
Clock at 15. Market turned, fires.
Oh, he's off the mark. The Jazz would get the final shot, and a shot to win. The foul wasn't called, and Key's off the mark. A great fight by the Jazz. They're at Golden State Monday night. There's your final score and all the stats. Austin Reeves had a great game as well. You see what Luka did. And Keontae was fantastic as he continues to grow. And he stood up to LeBron in this game, playing great defense.
At the time, I'm young. You don't see things like that. But now, like you said, guarding the best player to ever touch the basketball and get a stop down the stretch like that is obviously it shows the work that I put in and the trust that Will had in me back then. And
well, with 2 losses this season, both to teams ranked in the top 11 in the nation, Utah's been able to stay relevant on the college football playoff bubble thanks to some very convincing and dominant wins. It feels like to stay on the bubble, big and convincing wins, that's the way to go for this Utah program. On Saturday afternoon at Rice-Eccles Stadium, on paper, it looked like Utah would get another one of those. But after a pair of punts, K-State starts the unexpected slugfest. A 3-minute drive, Antonio Martin Jr. going 37 yards for the touchdown. Wildcats up 7-0. Before the end of the quarter, Utah does tie the game up with Bird Ficklin running in his 8th touchdown of the season. This ties the game at 7 after 1 quarter of play. Now, Kansas State would have a huge second quarter, one that is rare by an opponent at Rice-Eccles Stadium. Avery Johnson scoring on the first play of the quarter, a 4-yard run, 14-7 K-State. That started a bit of back and forth between the two schools. Ficklin with his 2nd touchdown of the game ties it at 14. The Kansas State running game went wild, though, led by Joe Jackson on 4th and 1 at the 34. Jackson goes up the middle, 66 yards for the touchdown, a 21-14 lead. Devin Dampier had a big game, though. He completes this pass to J.J. Buchanan. The tight end picks up 60 yards on the play, gets them into the red zone. Dampier would cap the drive with this 8-yard touchdown run to tie the game right back at 21. Final 2 minutes of the half, K-State gives it back to Jackson. This time, 80-yard run to cap a 24-point quarter, a 31-21 halftime lead. Jackson ran for 476 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first 10 games of this season. On Saturday, he had 236 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first half against Utah. We did see a bit of a momentum shift for the Utes in the third quarter. Utah opens the half very quickly, 75 yards in just over a minute. Dampier with the 38-yard touchdown pass to Dallin Bentley cuts the lead to 3. Then on the next drive, more Ficklin, his third rushing touchdown of the game. He's got 10 for the season. That's second all-time by Utah quarterbacks in the season. Utah's up 35-31. Kansas State then went on a 14-play clock eater, 79 yards in more than 8 minutes. 4th and goal Johnson to a wide-open Garrett Oakley for the go-ahead score, 38-35 after 3 quarters. After a K-State field goal, Utah driving down 6. Disaster happens. Possibly Dampier loses the ball. It's recovered by the Wildcats at the Utah 26, and Joe Jackson breaks free again. This time a 24-yard touchdown to go up by 12 with 7 minutes to go. Kansas State wants to make it a 2-touchdown game by going for 2. Johnson's pass picked off by Teo Johnson. He's going to return it 100-plus yards to give Utah 2 points. So that 2-point flip changes this game. It makes it a 10-point contest. And that seemed to spark the Utes as well. Dampier throws the dime to Larry Simmons. 20-yard touchdown makes it a 3-point game, 47-44. The Utah defense held. Dampier orchestrates an 89-second drive that covered 70 yards. 59 of those yards on this 4th down run by Dampier to get him down inside the 5. Dampier would cap the drive with a touchdown run. And they now have the lead, 51-47. And then senior Lander Barton, his last game at Rice Eccles, putting the nail in the coffin, picking off Johnson with 50 seconds to go. And there you have it. Utah wins 51-47, their 4th game this season, scoring 50 or more points. John Henry Daly had 2 sacks. He did lead the game with an injury. Wayshawn Parker, 100 yards rushing. That's Utah's 9th win of the season.
You know, I did see a few fans leaving when I think we got down by 10 with not much time to go, and didn't like to see that, but you know, I guess I can't blame them. But those fans that hung around, that was a special treat for them, and those fans that did hang around were as loud as a packed stadium at the end. That was deafening in there. Just so happy for our seniors to be able to go out with a win, their last opportunity, and Rice Eccles. Excuse me. When I think about our seniors, I get emotional, so I apologize. But it's just so awesome for them to be able to have that experience. The whole time on the sidelines, no one was pointing fingers, no one was getting down on anybody. It was just very positive and very upbeat, and that's who we are. That's our culture. What a fitting way for Lander Barton to finish his career here at Rice Eccles. For him to seal the victory with that pick. He's done so much for this program through the years. Just a tremendous competitor.
We hope you weren't one of the people that left early. If you did, we've got you. Sly's here to break this one down. And oh my goodness, I don't even know how to describe this game. We're going to get to the elephant in the room here in a moment, the defense. But first, the comeback was unbelievable. Look, Devin Dampier hasn't been himself lately. He's got the injury. I think a lot of people were questioning maybe Bert Ficklin should be playing. He needed a moment, Sly. And he got that moment in that game. That was monster for him.
Yeah, for me, it's more of anybody who wants a motivation to understand that a game is never over. It's never over till the big lady sings, right? Like, that's exactly how Devin put it, man. He did not have his best game, but I'm telling you what, it was one of the best finishes, and it feels so much better. Like, watching his face in celebration with the teammates after he scored that touchdown just meant everything. This was a huge drive coming back, first throwing the touchdown to Larry Simmons. But here, being able to call his own number and just know that, like, look, I got my whole team that's depending on me. So he took it upon himself to make this extra play. Great blocking by the offensive line, getting it to him, but you just felt the energy in the stadium. And then here, because he gets met before the goal line, but watch him drive here. And he's not the biggest guy, but I'll tell you what, when you got heart and determination, you're going to make it happen. But this celebration here, everybody's face is what tells the story of what this meant, right? From Spencer Fano to the Jaron Kump, this whole offensive line, everybody was feeling, everybody in the stands. It was huge. I'm telling you, Coach Witt said it. There was guys that left, but the people that there, it felt like a packed stadium, how loud it was.
All right, let's get to that defense, Sly, because we're not used to seeing this from Utah defense. Not only that, I mean, it was a record performance, the most rushing yards they've ever allowed How did they allow that to happen? What happened?
Yeah, honestly, there's a lot of things that are head scratchers. It's stuff that you see in spring ball and in training camp, a lot of technical things. But for me, it's a lot of communication issues that happen there where guys are just not talking to it. And those things that doesn't happen this late in the season, because it wasn't like Kansas State was running trick plays or anything that was absolutely crazy. But our technique right here, that's just tackling right there. We got to make that happen, which we've pointed out multiple times this season. So I really, it's a head scratcher on a couple things, but I think last week we gave up a lot of yards in the passing game, so we put an extra focus on that in this week, and then next thing you know, we got hit with the running game.
Is it communication? Is it what is it? It felt like they didn't have enough players in the field.
Yeah,
it was bizarre.
For me, it's specific here. The extra guy comes in the box with motion, and Joe Jackson just does a great job in open space here. But yeah, for me, bottom line is communication. Defense has to be overly communicated as a defense. So, and the gaps on defense, everybody has a gap. From C, B, A, B, C, and D, everybody has a gap responsibility. Now, when this guy comes into the screen and comes in motion, he brings another gap with him, right? That means that we all need to be in the same cohesive unit. So Jackson Benny is going to take that gap. So either Jackson Benny takes this guy's gap, and this guy takes this guy's gap, and this guy takes Jackson Benny's gap, or Jackson Benny follows him. Jackson Benny's thinking one thing, these two guys are thinking another thing. That's just not communication. So Jackson Benny is now two guys in one gap over here, this B gap. He should be here, he should be here, and he should be rotating out. Nobody's outside. Yeah. And so then you get Teo Johnson in the hardest position in football, and that's out on space right here. So what Teo Johnson wants to do is he wants to feather, slow him down so the rest of the cavalry can come. He jumps outside too quick. Joe Jackson makes a really quick, swift move, and next you know, he's off to the races. So for me, it's communication, it's technique. Defense, you can't expect people to do things. You have to over-communicate. It doesn't matter if the offense knows what you're doing. You have to make sure you know what you're doing and everybody's on the same page. That's why football is the greatest game, is you got to have so many people on the same page. We just weren't on the same page at a lot of those plays.
Film session's going to be tough. They got to get it right. They're going to Kansas. Lawrence isn't always an easy place to play. Got to get that dub to stay in the race. Sly, thanks.
The Utah State Aggies, they went on the road yesterday. They beat a 7-win Fresno State team to become bowl eligible in the first season with Bronco Mendenhall. Utah State outscored Fresno State 14-0 in the fourth quarter to complete the comeback and win 28-17. Bryson Barnes passed for 150 yards and rushed for 113 yards to improve to 6-5 on the season.
Well, the Aggies are going bowling in Bronco Mendenhall's first year. They're also off to a great start in hoops. They're still perfect on the court.
Yeah, and BYU beat a nationally ranked team by 28 points on Friday. We'll hear from Kevin Young coming up in a bit. And another look at the special game by L.J. Martin, what history he made on Saturday, and Bear Bachmeier, too. He not only joins elite company, but he's leaving that company in the dust. We'll explain coming up. The Utah State basketball team is poised to make history this season, looking to earn a fourth straight NCAA tournament bid for the first time in school history. So far, it's off to a pretty great start. The Aggies improved to 5-0 with a 21-point win over Tulane on Friday. This happened at the Shriners Children's Classic semifinal game in Charleston. Today, back on the court in Charleston for the championship game against Davidson. The first half was a shooting clinic by MJ Collins. Hits back-to-back threes for the 11-3 lead. Later in the half, Collins pokes the ball free, gets it back for the slam to build Utah State's lead to 24-17. Two more threes in the final 2 minutes. Collins made 7 of 10 shots in the first half, 4 3-pointers for 22 points just in the half. Drake Allen scored 2 of his 10 points in the half just before the buzzer. He also had 5 assists and 5 steals in the first half. Would anything change in the second half? No, nothing at all. The Aggie dominance continued behind MJ Collins. Hits another 3-pointer to put the Aggies up 68-41. This was just the start of a big second half for him.
MJ Collins steals it and throws down a nasty one-handed dunk. Oh, wow. Parker Fredrickson has the ball stolen away. Collins with the steal and threw down a nasty right-handed hammer.
Yeah, Collins' dunk put the Aggies up by 27. He would score 13 straight points for the Aggies over a 4-minute stretch, a stretch that included 3 of his 8 3-pointers in the game, and they built a 35-point lead Utah State ends up with the 94-60 to win. They improved to 6-0 on the season. Collins made 14 of 19 shots that he took, 8 for 12 from three-point range for a career-high 40 points. The Aggies, they'll be back on the court Saturday afternoon, 2 p.m. against Montana State.
The Aggies look great, and so does BYU. Less than a week after losing a heartbreaker to third-ranked UConn in Boston, the 9th-ranked BYU Cougars were hosting another ranked opponent in their home away from home, the Delta Center. The opponent, the 23rd-ranked Wisconsin Badgers, a rematch of their classic battle in the round of 32 in Denver last March. First half, the Cougars went on a 13-0 run at one point. A.J. DeBonsa, he knocks down a three. BYU had a 30-18 lead. The play of the game was made by redshirt freshman Hadim Boop. The steal and the slam. In the second half, Richie Saunders caught fire, and so did the Cougars. Hits the three and the foul. Saunders had 26, DeBonsa 18. BYU made 14 threes. They led by as much as 32 in the win. Wow.
I thought tonight was the first game all year where everybody that we brought here for a reason. And I think you saw that tonight. I think the role definition's getting more clear. In that stretch, I thought Hadim gave us a big lift. I thought Rob stepped up. Dominique Diomande came in and gave us a lift. So it was good. I was worried, honestly, like, man, how are we going to weather this, right? And like, to your point, not only did we weather it, but we increased the lead, which says a lot about the rest of the team.
All right, back to college football. It's simple for BYU. Win against UCF at LaVell Edwards Stadium Saturday, and they're in the Big 12 championship game.
Yeah, they control their own destiny, and that's thanks to the 26-14 win Saturday night against Cincinnati. A career performance by L.J. Martin was the difference maker for the Cougars. BYU leaned heavily on Martin in the game. He carried the ball 32 times for 222 yards and 2 touchdowns, all of those career highs. He also led the Cougars in receiving yards with 44 yards. He had 3 catches in the game, which included a 26-yard gain. Martin has eclipsed the 1,000-yard mark for the season for the first time in his career. It's the first 1,000-yard rusher for the Cougars since Tyler Algier in 2021.
LJ's a heck of a back. He was finding the creases even when they were small. So
he was doing so good. He was hard to give him he's a hot hand. Just keep feeding it to him. And there's times that he was pushing Enoch and everybody else out of the way he wanted to stay in the game.
LJ's a heart and soul player. His work, he's one of the earliest there and one of the last people there. So he's a heart and soul of this team and this offense. I absolutely love that guy.
Boom, run through a man's face.
I mean, LJ deserves to be the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week, and I thought the O-line played outstanding, too.
LJ's a great back, but he would be terrible if he had no O-line. They just play extremely complementary. Those are dogs up front. Those are my brothers, great people off the field, but just ruthless players.
Yeah, they made it super easy. I mean, they were getting wide open creases. They did a great job pushing up front. It was probably the easiest night of my life.
Bear Bachmeier would also be terrible without a great offensive line. No worry, though. He's got a great one. He had 46 yards on the ground for the Cougars and picked up his 11th rushing touchdown of the season. That ties him with Ronnie Jenkins with the most rushing touchdowns in a season by a BYU freshman. That's elite company. And that touchdown also gave him the BYU record for most rushing touchdowns in a season by a quarterback, regardless of class, in BYU history. So who owned that record previously? Well, the mark was 10. And it was set by Steve Young. He had 10 rushing touchdowns in the 1982 season. His first as the starter. Taysom Hill would tie that mark almost 30 years later. Taysom had 10 rushing touchdowns in 2013, his best statistical season as BYU starting quarterback, his sophomore year. And then Zach Wilson reached the 10 rushing touchdown mark in 2020, his spectacular junior season that led to him becoming the second overall player taken in the 2021 NFL Draft. High school football season came to an end Thursday. Dang it, on the turf of Rice-Eccles Stadium. We're going to miss it.
Yeah, it was great, though. 3 championship games all in one day. And the champs, they left no doubt in all 3 of those classifications. The 5A title game was between 4th-seeded Orem and 3rd-seeded Springville. Orem's Aisa Nalia had a monster game. Already with a 60-yard touchdown run, he adds this pick with a 78-yard weaving return for another touchdown, which led to a 28-0 Orem lead. So he's got the rushing touchdown, the defensive touchdown to start the second half. How about a kick return for a score? 96-yard return. Orem wins their 10th state championship in school history, 42-7 over Springville.
Wouldn't do it any other team, this team right here. I love these boys like a brother. I mean, they're like a family. I mean, we look out for each other, we have each other's back. That's what's special about this team. we all got to live for each other. So that's why it hits the heart right now.
The 6A championship game, Lone Peak taking on Corner Canyon, the only team to beat Corner Canyon this year. Just before the half, Kepanime Tolu runs in the touchdown for Lone Peak, gives them a 17-14 halftime lead. In the fourth quarter, Corner Canyon takes over. Weston Briggs had 4 rushing touchdowns. He came alive in the second half, and the dynasty continues. Corner Canyon makes it a three-peat. That's 6 titles in the last 8 years.
That's why I'm crying like a baby right now. Just emotions. They're so special. The kids are amazing. It's like the best part of coaching. There's nothing else better than it. It's emotional for me. It's hard, but yeah, I love it.
Well, Ridgeline's been dominant all season long. It didn't change at all in the 4A championship game against Green Canyon. Nate Dowley threw 4 touchdown passes, 2 of those to Graham Livingston, including this 55-yard touchdown. Dowley also had 3 rushing touchdowns in the game. And Ridgeline pitched the shutout in the title game. They complete their perfect season with the 56-0 win.
We practice so hard. I mean, you can't, like, when we just be ourselves, that's what we do.
Nate, me and him, he's been my quarterback since 4th grade when I moved here, and me and him have that connection, and I'm so proud of him and all this team, and just so grateful.
Congrats to all the champs. What a season it was. You can go back and watch all the games on the KSL Sports app. Good night, everybody.